Bitcoin just had its highest weekly close ever. Meanwhile, there are some conflicting signs because we wicked all the way above $107,000, and as I'm recording this video, Bitcoin retraced all the way down to 103K. In the meantime, there is a whale that opened up a $500 million Bitcoin long position. In today's video, we'll be talking about exactly this, going over the recent Bitcoin price action and what you should be paying attention to if you're trading this market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. First of all, our most recent call played out to perfection again. If we take a look at the Bitcoin chart on the smaller time frame, what you can see here is that we pointed out the fact that we would go ahead and touch this previous wick, which is exactly what happened. But in yesterday's video, as I started to notice that liquidity was building up to the upside, I said that it would not surprise me if we were to reject here and then go ahead and make another higher wick, which is exactly what happened. Let's roll the clip once again. Several hundreds of millions of dollars of shorts were liquidated. And right now, we can see that some more is getting built up above 106K. And so if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, it wouldn't surprise me, pending we hold this level as support, that we would make another aggressive wick to liquidate all of those shorts. And that is, once again, exactly what happened. We came back down, retested the zone. It did hold as support on these shorter time frames, and then we pumped all the way up and created a massive wick for the weekly close, seeing a big rejection back down below this region. Right now though, on the daily time frame, despite a massive red candle, we are still holding this level as support. So as long as we can stay above here and not get many daily closes below this level, there is a chance that we can pump higher. That being said, based on this rejection that we saw over here, I do think that it's likely that we'll get one or two daily closes below this level and that we will come back down and retest this breakdown region now that we got all of those shorts wrecked. It's time to wreck the longs in my opinion, and a bigger correction is overdue for Bitcoin. Let's see how it plays out. This would be invalidated if we continue to hold this level as support. So far it's looking okay, but I'm not that convinced, especially with pre-markets red. This is the market's reaction to Moody's reducing the US's credit rating from AAA to AA1. So pre-market is not looking too hot, and we'll have to see how the stock market closes at the end of the day. Now, taking a look at the Bitcoin chart once again, as I said, there is not that much cause for concern unless we start to get these daily closes below this key level over here. Then we would likely be retesting the breakdown region. I know I'm repeating myself here, but I'm just telling you exactly what I'm seeing on the charts. We got the wick. Then we got another massive wick as more people tried to short the market, and now this is decision time for Bitcoin. Will we hold here as support and move on higher, or do we need to go ahead and target the initial breakdown region for us to be able to move higher? Now, if we take a look at the liquidation heat map, we can see that there is still some more liquidity that got built up once again right above 107.5K. A lot of people are still trying to short this. But if we look at the contrary here, we can see that overall, zooming out and looking at the bigger picture, there are a lot more longs in this market. As we can see, if Bitcoin were to go all the way up to just below $118,000, which would obviously be a new all-time high, that would equate to a cumulative short liquidation leverage of around $4.72 billion. But if Bitcoin were to go to the low 90Ks from here, all the way down to say $91,500, that would liquidate around $17.48 billion worth of longs. So make sure you're careful if you're longing this market at this point. As I said in my previous videos, we wanted to get some daily closes above 106.2K, and actually, if we're going to be technical here, we did close above that level, but I would attribute this to a Sunday scam pump. If you're new to crypto, a crucial rule that you should understand is to never fully trust a weekend pump with low volume. This is exactly what we got. We got the close above this level, but we rejected immediately. And now at the time of recording this video, this daily candle is actually lower than the pump that we got on Sunday. Be careful with Sunday scam pumps. If we get continued confirmation above 106.2K, as I've been saying, that is when we would likely be targeting a new all-time high. But right now, if I continue to zoom out on this chart, we can see that this is starting to look very similar to these previous reactions at the all-time high level. But you'll know this, if you're trading crypto, whenever Bitcoin does get close to its all-time high level, there is always some kind of drastic reaction before we can break this barrier and actually go higher. If you don't necessarily agree with me in the short term and you're leaning more short-term bullish, you'd want to see us continue to hold this level as support to try make another attempt at breaking above this key resistance level and holding it as support on the daily time frame. That reminds me, if you want to trade crypto, I have two awesome exchanges for you to join. First of all, we have Blofin, which is the first link in my description down below. This is another exchange that I've been using for a long time, non-KYC, and you get a ton of bonuses. If you deposit $2,000 into your Blofin account after signing up with the first link in my description down below, you essentially get $300 back for free for your futures trading. So make sure to sign up because this is a very limited promo. The first link in my description down below. And the second one, we also have Weeks. You get that $100 for free for the first 100 users that sign up with the second link in my description down below. And you can also unlock up to $30,000 in rewards based on your trading volume. And you can also get a 20% deposit bonus with Weeks. That is the second link in my description down below. As I always say though, you want to diversify across multiple exchanges, which is why I've been talking about many exchanges on my channel. I spread out my wealth across many. And let's just take a moment to appreciate Bitcoin dominance. I will be going over this very quickly. I know that some of you get really annoyed with this, but as you can see, we got a very bullish weekly close for Bitcoin dominance, holding at its bull market support band, and now it looks to go much higher. As we saw in the crypto space, across the board, let me just click on CoinMarketCap, for example. Bitcoin is down less than 1% in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, Ethereum is down over 3%, XRP is down nearly 3%. All of these altcoins are really struggling. We can see that Solana is down nearly 5%. This is why I keep on saying, until we get a shift in monetary policy, I still think that Bitcoin is the way to go. If Bitcoin dumps from here and tests the breakdown region, altcoins will get annihilated. I refuse to become one of those influencers that just continuously yells for an altcoin season when we have signs like these and the macro is simply not looking too hot, which is obviously not a great environment for altcoins. We'll get into that a little bit later, but these are the simple factors that I'm considering before calling for an altcoin season. Now let's take a look at our massive Bitcoin whale. He is now longing over $500 million worth of Bitcoin. This is obviously a 40x leverage position, and his liquidation price is just below $98,000. That would technically mean that if Bitcoin does continue to get some downtrend here and we get the closes below this key region, we would likely find our way back into the breakdown region. And of course, right below $98,000 would make a lot of sense to liquidate this whale. I know a lot of people are cheering him on and hoping that we can just move much higher from here, but I'm not that convinced quite yet until we can get some proper confirmations. Now, right here, you can see that his P&L is currently down $2 million. So far, he's paid just under $900,000 to keep this position open. Absolutely insane. Now, he also has another position called K Pepe, which he opened up a long time ago, and it is now sitting in $10 million of profit. So this is pretty impressive as well. He's paid $1 million of funding to hold this position open on Hyperliquid. We're actually able to identify this whale. He goes by the name of James Wynn. He actually put out this message recently. To the degens and paper hands from around the globe, the Bitcoin volcano is nearly ready to erupt. It will be ferocious. It will be violent. It will be like nothing we have ever seen before. Paper hands will shrivel into dust. Shorts will be liquidated. The bears, finished. We are about to enter the Bitcoin paradigm shift on an institutional and governmental level around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, global FOMO on every measurable aspect is at our fingertips. Yours sincerely, James Wynn. I mean, at the very least, you can appreciate his conviction, especially if you're going to open up a massive $500 million Bitcoin long position. You better believe that we will pump. Let's see what happens. I am not that convinced, as I said. If we continue to chop around here and we get that fall below here, as I mentioned, we're targeting that breakdown region, hopefully to hold that support before we can go ahead and move higher. But right now, this is starting to look very similar to what happened in these prior two instances over here, a rejection at these levels. And the last couple of things to show you in this video, first of all, let's take a look at the altcoin season index, because I know a lot of you have been bashing me because I've not been bullish on altcoins, and we can see that it is still very much Bitcoin season. To get the proper altcoin season, we would need a little bit of a repeat that we saw in December, and this was extremely short-lived. Normally, when we get a proper altcoin season, we can be above this 75 level for several weeks to potentially months. That is what we're looking for a proper altcoin season. And obviously, as I've been saying on the channel, I think that this will require a shift in monetary policy, transitioning out of quantitative tightening at the very least. Next, let's take a look at the global assets by market cap. We can see that Bitcoin just continues to sit pretty at number 6, which is why, as I've been saying, any money that I make in this market goes to my cash position, but it also goes towards accumulating more Bitcoin, because I firmly believe that I will be making videos like this in the next 10 years, and we will find our way above gold as the #1 asset by market cap. You might not believe me, but I think that this is entirely possible, because this is the digital revolution. Always remember that, and this is also why I always say you should be measuring your altcoins against Bitcoin. If they're not outperforming Bitcoin at the very least, then it makes no sense to hold those altcoins until we get better conditions for those altcoins to have the opportunity to outperform Bitcoin. For now, Bitcoin is outperforming nearly everything across the board, so make sure you're aware of that and make sure that you're careful when it comes to selecting altcoins. When it comes time to be bullish with altcoins, I will make sure to keep you updated on which ones I am looking at. The last thing that I want to show you here is a little bit of concerning signs. We're back to our regular scheduled programming. Yields are surging again following Moody's downgrade on Friday, which we discussed in yesterday's video. The 10-year note yield is nearing the 4.5 to 4.6% area that we have seen the Trump administration react to many times. Trade deals, recession worries, lower inflation, and slowing GDP all can't get lower yields. Meanwhile, Fed Chair Powell remains adamant on not cutting rates. Powell currently may be one of the most powerful people in the world at this very moment. Be honest with yourself here. Does this look like an environment where altcoins can really thrive? I don't think so. And that sums up today's quick update. We hit another wick that we called in yesterday's video above $107,000, only for Bitcoin to get aggressively rejected. In the meantime, though, we have a whale longing $500 million worth of Bitcoin as the yields are surging. I'm not sure that this is going to work out very well for him. We'll have to monitor the situation, and I will make sure to keep you updated. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.